Hey, this is Nicole Kelly, host of Disarming Disability. Thanks for listening to the following show on Public House Media.
This is Julianne Condia, host of Rewritten, here on Public House Media. Thank you so much for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you are done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Rewritten, where we will talk about you having limitless potential and can rewrite your story at any time. No matter your background, your past, or current situation, you can have the type of life you crave. A new show comes out every single Monday. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Rewritten. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
You're listening to The Morning Uplift, the podcast that brings you motivation and encouragement to begin your week. I'm your host, Liz Colburn. Grab your coffee, begin getting ready for your day, and join me as we discuss what it means to find the beauty in your journey. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Morning Uplift. So whether this is your 10th or 11th time listening to The Morning Uplift, or you're our very first timer this morning, we're really excited to welcome you to our show. I feel so convicted this morning because I am sharing a topic today that is super close to my heart because I struggled for so long in silence. It was something that was slowly digging away at me. It was something that I had to battle myself inside my head. But here's the thing. I didn't even see it because I was being recognized positively for something that was affecting me negatively. Let me say that again. I was being recognized for something positively that was affecting me negatively. The topic for today is perfectionism, and it's something that I've experienced for as long as I can remember. If you have struggled or you still struggle with it, you know that it can be a blessing and it can also be a curse. And it's not something that really turns off, but it's definitely something with conscious effort that you can come to terms with, face head on, and begin to make more manageable. So let's dig into perfectionism today. There are two really difficult things about perfectionism. These are the two difficult things in my book. Number one is that it's a struggle that happens within. It's a struggle that no one can see eating away at you. It's internal, not external. So it's not like, for example, it's not like seeing dirt on someone's hands. You can see dirt on someone's hands and you know that you can give them a solution. What would that solution be? Soap, of course. They can wash their hands and simply remove their problem. But the fight that you face with perfectionism is a fight that's within your mind that nobody can see but you. And the other difficult thing about perfectionism is that, like I said in the opening, it's something that's seen as a positive thing to so many. If you have perfectionistic tendencies, people compliment you. They are going to be seen complimenting you on the quality of work that you put in, for example. So you know who you are. If you are a perfectionistic person, you know who you are. People are complimenting you on the quality of work that you produce, but they don't know the sleep that you lose, the mental struggle with getting things just right, the hours of nitpicking at things that honestly people probably won't even notice anyways. But it's so real to the person who struggles with perfectionism. Those things are real things that haunt our mind, that keep us up at night. And being vulnerable, for me, this is tough. Being vulnerable is really tough for perfectionistic people. They build these walls. They spend a lot of time alone because their expectations are really high, and they usually can't process many things at once. So they need to stick at one thing before anything else goes onto their plate. They need to stick to that one thing until it's done perfectly. But the problem with this is, and the problem with their walls is that one small thing could tear everything that they have built down. There are things that I love about being a perfectionist, and there are honestly things that are super unhealthy with this. Like I said before, you can't expect that perfectionists can tackle a job at hand with not feeling these things that they feel, but you know that they're going to tackle them with grit and dedication, and so the final product is seamlessly done. Perfectionists will go the extra mile. They will tie the package with a shiny bow. Oh, you want perfectionists to be your employees, for sure. They are the masters at catering to the needs of others above and beyond the expectations. So you get this picture, right? And if you're a perfectionist, you're like, yes, that's totally me, Liz. Like, you're calling me out right now. I am the perfectionist. Maybe you're not the perfectionist, but you might have people who have these tendencies that you live with, that you deal with, that are your friends, that are your significant others. And the dirty truth about people like me, the people that are perfectionists, is they don't, and these are the things that they don't let other people see, is that it's stealing their joy. For example, in some circumstances, perfectionists have to say no to things that they know they could do just because of the fear of falling short. The fear that the failure might come if they don't do 100%, 110%. It's robbing them of the joy, and they push people away because those people that they're pushing away are not going to measure up to the standards that they have for themselves. And that's hard. It's coming to terms with the blessing and the curse of being a perfectionist. There's so many wonderful things, but there's so many things that keep them awake at night because they're so scared of that failure, and they know that they're pushing people away. And honestly, noticing these downfalls in my life helped me understand that I needed to figure this out, and I needed to take control of this in my life. And I'm here to tell you that even though it is a long process to understanding it and lessening the severity, there are ways to combat this not so perfect topic. The first comes with being conscious of how perfectionism is playing a positive role and how it's weighing you down. And I had to do some serious soul searching on this. And I found that although this could take form in my workplace, for example, it wasn't something that I wanted seeping into my home. There was a time and a place for me to be a perfectionist. And although it's never going to go away, you can find that balance. For example, this past week, I had a Facebook post that I was putting out there on my personal page. And there was a graphic that I had spent a lot of time making already. And you're going to laugh, but there was this little tiny segment of font that had kind of gone over the border of, where my graphic border was. And I didn't realize it at first, and I posted it. And as soon as I posted it, sure enough, I noticed that my text was going over just a little bit. And for those of you that are not perfectionists, you're like, why does that even matter? For those of you that are, and you can relate to this on some level, you're like, oh my gosh, that would have bothered me. I would have taken it down right away and fixed it. I had every single thing in me saying, take that down. You need to fix it. This is not okay. And you know what I did? I kept it. I kept it up there, and that was such a mental fight for myself. I fought myself on that so long. And even when I was going to create the graphic for launching this week's episode and what it was about, my husband's like, you should make the fonts go all these different directions, and you should, make these letters like falling in different places. And I'm like, whoa, I can't do that. So it is a fight still, but I could have gone back to fix it. That's the point. I could have. But no one cares, and I didn't want to miss out on the family time that was coming. And so I just shut my computer, and I was like, you know what, whatever, it's just going to be the way it is. And those were things that would weigh on me in the past. Those are things that still weigh on me some days. And I'm like, why am I even worried about this? It's my fear of being judged. Like, it really matters. Sometimes I do things, I notice them, and other people probably don't even notice. Honestly, 90% of the time, people probably don't notice, but I do. Or it's my fear of falling short. But that's progress, my friends, and you can do it too. So my question is, where do you notice your perfectionism creeping in? And asking yourself these questions, is it helping you in that moment? Like when I'm talking about a workplace, for example, if you are really nitpicky about things, your boss is going to love that you present something really well, or you turn in something to them that's done with a lot of work and a lot of heart into it. That's helping you. But there's times in your life that that's going to hurt you. Is it hurting your relationship? Is it hurting the fact that it's taking time away from your family? Is it hurting you in the fact that you're so weighed down, you're losing sleep, you're getting sick over it? So is it helping or is it hurting you? Is it helping or is it hurting others? And these are just a few questions you can ask yourself as you're navigating it. And like I said, it's a long process and I still struggle. I'm not here today telling you I'm perfect by any means. I'm not. And even though, you can strive to be that, no one's perfect. And there's so many areas you can search for answers from to target in on and to help you gain perspective with this. But maybe the answer is more simple. It was for me. And it was this. You don't have to be perfect. Jesus already was. Like I said, you don't have to be perfect. Jesus already was. Maybe you are a Christian like me. Maybe you aren't, and maybe you're listening to this and you're not a Christian. But isn't it freeing to hear that all of your burdens and all of your stressors and all of your timelines and expectations could be lifted off of you and put on someone else? Isn't that freeing? Because they were. They were placed on a man's shoulders. He died for me. He died for you. He was perfect, so you don't have to be. And for me, that's all I need to come back to find healing, coping, and peace with perfectionism. I still struggle, and I still need to pull the reins back, but there can be a time and a place for it. And learning this about myself makes me me. So don't let perfectionism rob you of joy. Be willing to find the beauty and be willing to part with the rest. Where will you begin today?